Alright, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Keenan. Welcome to today's NFL vlog. Here to talk about week 8 of this year's NFL season. Now I have a lot of great matches for you guys again for the NFC conference games. Now I messed up on Thursday night's matchup between the Minnesota Vikings and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucks rolled past the Vikes in that matchup due to their ground attack led by running back Doug Martin, who had 33 fantasy points in NFL fantasy play. I thought Minnesota's defense was going to hold strong in that matchup, but that ended up being wrong on my part. I did not know that the Buccaneers offense was just going to run all over that defense with Jared Allen and company, but I got that one wrong. But I still got a couple of other NFC matches for you, and the remaining NFC matches for you guys for week 8 of this season. Starting with early Sunday at 1 o'clock, Chicago's going to be hosting Carolina. Now for Carolina, one thing that's really just I'm not understanding is the running game for the Panthers. They're not really using both D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart quite often. They need to utilize him a lot more. The picture is going to be pictured more towards quarterback Cam Newton and seeing if he can mature as a passer. And the Panthers, I believe, lost focus in the ground game overall because they have two talented running backs in Stewart and Williams. They're going to have to use them a lot more in order for them to win these games. Now they're playing against a Bears defense who is pretty dominant throughout the season. And one player in particular I gotta give a shout out to is Charles Tillman. A lot of people are starting recognizing him for Defensive Player of the Year this season. He has forced some fumbles, caught some interceptions, and he shut down a lot of receivers in this season thus far in his 10th year. He made it to the Pro Bowl last season. I think he can make the Pro Bowl again, especially with his spectacular performance against Calvin Johnson in their last game against the Detroit Lions at home. He had a big game, and he was pretty much a shutdown corner, holding Johnson to a lot of drop passes, incomplete passes, breakups, and he held him to no touchdowns in that matchup. He is key to that Bears defense. Now for this matchup, I'm gonna have to go with the Chicago Bears because they have a better ground game and a better balanced offense overall than the Carolina Panthers, and that defense, like I said, is dominant. I think they should have no problems winning this game. Next game, and I need to talk about the New England Patriots are going to be traveling to St. Louis to face the Rams. Now the Rams that have been inconsistent overall this season, so I'm gonna have to go with the New England Patriots in this one. I do like Stephen Wrigley a lot. He's been leading the team in rushing, and he can make his way to Honolulu, Hawaii to make it to the Pro Bowl. I think he's a good running back. He is actually projected to make at least 1,300 yards this season if he continues to do what he's doing and stay healthy and help out Tom Brady in that offense. I'm going to go with the Patriots over the Rams in that matchup. Next game, we need to talk about a full NFC showdown between the Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Atlanta Falcons. The Dirty Birds versus the Birds from Brotherly Love Town. And I really think this is going to be a great matchup. Now one thing I'm a little bit disappointed in for the Philadelphia Eagles, not talking about Michael Vick, that defense overall, they pretty let me down in fantasy play, so you should go right ahead and sit them for now on. If you have not, definitely bench them for fantasy football play because they're playing against an explosive Atlanta offense with Roddy White, Julio Jones, and Michael the Burner Turner. I think he could be due for a good game. I'm a little disappointed in that Eagles defense, and plus the offense. One player in particular I wish they could use a little bit more is LaShawn McCoy, averaging just over 4 yards per carry when he averaged 5 yards per carry last season. I think he's a good running back. He just needs to get the mojo going later on in the season to help out Michael Vick and try to become a contender in the NFC East division and try to make it to the playoffs. For this matchup, I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons because they have a great defense, just like the Chicago Bears with Asante Samuel. They have a great defense overall. John Abraham, Sean Witherspoon, they have an outstanding unit on the defensive side, and quarterback Matt Ryan still leading this team to an undefeated season. He could actually make a run for NFL MVP this season. Next game we need to talk about, the Washington Redskins is going to be traveling to Pittsburgh to face the Steelers. This is going to be a good, interesting matchup because Washington has improved a lot this season. I think they could be a good competitor in this game. But I'm still going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers because they have more experience, more maturity, and Robert Griffin III is going to be facing against a tough brutal defense with the terrible towel and company. I think the Steel Curtains is going to beat the Washington Redskins in this matchup. Next game we need to talk about NFC East rivalry game between the New York Giants against the Dallas Cowboys. Now Dallas beat the New York G-Men at Giant Stadium in Week 1 of this season, and the Giants are looking to avenge that loss. Now a lot of people are having the Giants as a good power ranking, one of the top teams in the National Football League, especially with the big win at San Francisco. I think they're going to keep the momentum going. They struggled last week against the Washington Redskins, but I think they're going to bounce back and avenge their loss to Week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to go with Eli Manning and company in this game. Next game we need to talk about, the New Orleans Saints is going to be traveling to Denver to face the Broncos. Now this is going to be a great quarterback duel between Peyton Manning and Drew Brees. Now I'm going to talk about Peyton Manning. He's having a great comeback season. 14 touchdown passes this year. He could definitely make a run for the NFL MVP award as well as the Comeback Player of the Year award. He's going to be competing that award with Adrian Peterson of the Minnesota Vikings and Jamal Charles of the Kansas City Chiefs. All three of these players are having great comeback seasons. Jamal Charles came from a torn ligament in his knee, same as Adrian Peterson, and for Peyton Manning, he came back for a neck injury, missed all of last season. He's leading this Denver team, he could lead this Denver team to the playoffs. This is going to be a competitive season in the AFC West, and I think Denver has a chance, a great opportunity to win the AFC West, and they could show a lot playing against the Saints offense, who has been struggling this season, but I think this is going to be a good game. Now, Saints, they won last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they're playing against a tough Denver team, especially at Mile High Stadium, and that type of weather and that air at Denver. I'm going to go with the home field advantage and go with the Denver Broncos over the New Orleans Saints, but this is going to be a competitive, close game, I believe, overall. Last game against the San Diego Chargers, Denver was down, but Peyton Manning led a great comeback, and I think the Broncos can continue that momentum against the New Orleans Saints. Now, last but not least, my San Francisco 49ers is going to be traveling to Arizona and face the Arizona Cardinals. This is going to be a good NFC West Division game. Arizona has a great defense, not as great as San Francisco, but very competitive. They have Patrick Peterson and company. They have a good defense overall, but that offense is pretty shaky, particularly that ground game. And Larry Fitzgerald, he has been getting into the mix, but not too much in the receiving corps because all eyes have been on him. So Andre Roberts is going to have to step up like he did last week in order for Arizona to beat this San Francisco defense. But I think that defense overall is going to be too much. You should go right ahead and start both defenses in this matchup for fantasy football play. I think this is going to be a close defensive showdown, and I think San Francisco is going to cause some turnovers and beat the Arizona Cardinals. So I want to go with my Niners over the Cardinals in that matchup. Now, just some last-minute notes for fantasy football play. Like I said earlier, we are on Week 8, which is pretty much dead for the trade deadline for some of you fantasy teams out there, for some of you leagues. But there's still chances for you guys to pick up players, drop players, and do whatever you can. So I'm here to give you some quick advice. Now, for the teams that for the leagues that cannot drop and add players anymore because of that trade deadline, you're pretty much set, and all you have is you pretty much just have the team that you have, and you have to manage them thoroughly, and you have to make great decisions. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment at the bottom of the screen, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Now, for other fantasy football play, one player in particular I'm going to be keeping an eye on is Sean Green of the New York Jets. He had a big game a couple weeks ago, but struggled last week, and I think he's playing against a good Miami defense. Some people have been asking me, should they start him? I think you should go right ahead and start him. We are coming to the trenches to the end of the season, and you pretty much got to play whoever you have available. Tennessee running back Chris Johnson had a big game last week, over 30 fantasy football points. He's playing against the Indianapolis Colts. Go right ahead and start him. He should be due for another good season. He's having a comeback year. And one player in particular I'm going to keep an eye on again, another player is Denarius Moore, the wide receiver for the Oakland Raiders. They're going to be playing against the Kansas City Chiefs at Kansas City. I think he's that leading target for Carson Palmer. So go right ahead and start him. No worries on that. But like I said before, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment at the bottom of the screen, and I will get back to you. I promise. I'm going to keep my eye on the computer and my phone. Get back to you guys as soon as I can. Now, the next time I catch you guys is on Week 10 of the NFL season. You're not going to see me in week 9 because I'm going to be on vacation. Now, I promise you guys, I'm going to try to catch you guys on week 9. I highly doubt it. I'm going to be taking a cruise, so I'm going to be out of the country, and I don't think I'm going to have internet access. But if I do, I will reach to you guys as soon as I can for week 9 of the NFL season, as well as week 10 of the college football season. So I'll try to catch you on next week, but if not, you will see me on the following week. I promise you guys. I'll catch you guys then. Thank you for watching today's vlog from Franchise Sports Talk. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.